Hi, I'm Lizzie Coombes. I'm a photographer, artist.
I'm Katy Hayley and I'm the Participation Manager at Chapel FM Arts Centre.
And the project that we've been working on has been called the Meanwood Road Project. We both live on Meanwood Road in Leeds. It's a busy commuter road that's kind of in between spaces. So we don't live in Meanwood. We don't live sort of in any particular area. It's quite an in-between space. It's a busy road. And I've been spending a few years kind of photographing it because while it is busy, it's also quite beautiful and there's quite a lot of beauty in terms of the nature and the valley. So I've been photographing it for a period of time. But obviously that changed quite a lot with COVID, so the road went very quiet. Neighbours started to get to know one another more because we were reliant on each other. We were working in our local community, so we started to see more people around. And we were very keen to kind of tap into that and to sort of develop that and work out where do communities on sort of liminal spaces and busy spaces exist and how do they come together, how do they work.
We've both been working within participatory community arts for the last 20 plus years, and so having the opportunity through this fund to do that on our own doorstep to connect with our community has been really important and a fabulous opportunity to do. It wasn't that we were planning to go and work with an immediate group that had already come together, so the idea of exploring the communities within our neighbourhood was the baseline, and the co-production needed to come out of the process at some point. But to start with, it was very much about us trying to make that initial connection with the people who live, work, commute and visit the space. There's lots of businesses, there's lots of organisations, there's lots of pockets of housing and neighbours, but there was no way of sort of linking it together, so that was our aim. And through that process of then connecting with as many people as possible, it was then to develop what that co-creation process was going to be.
We weren't going into an existing community group or any existing communities. There were communities in the sense of a group of people who exist on one street. And so a big part, I think, of the practice has been very much about how do we work with forming something that feels more than just like little pockets.
We put out a questionnaire which we got quite a few people responding to, not all who live on the road, people who wanted to connect with the project. And it was our opportunity to kind of audit the creativity of people and find out how and what they would like to get involved in.
And so it was about hosting walks. I remember the very first one, we were stood in the courtyard at the farm and I thought, no one's going to come. And then literally about 20 people came over the bridge to the courtyard and I was like, oh wow.
We are going to have to do some work.
We're going to have to do something now. They're here and we're talking. But it was so wonderful because we had so many people just go, I came because I had the postcard, I've wanted to do something, I've wanted to connect, I didn't know how to, I wanted to do this. And it was so lovely because what it meant was, we're right, there is something more here. You know, when you think there's something more and then you test it out and there's a moment when you doubt yourself and then it just unraveled in this really lovely way. So I've done a lot of sort of pop-up portrait studios over a number of years in my practice, but never really in that sense of being outside on a road. But what we were interested in doing there, I think, was exploring that as a conversation starter. So the portrait was important, the photograph of that person, but it was more as a way of connecting with the people going past. We had this performative space in a sense set up, which was literally a cloth and some bars to hold the cloth up, but it was there as a thing where you're taking your portrait and then we had that conversation. Through that gained a huge amount of visibility because people, even if they didn't engage with us, saw us on the road and thought, what are those two people doing on the side of the road?
We got lots of waves and beeps,
waves and toots,
which
and people
fab.
saying to us, oh yeah, I saw you on the side of the road, you were by the garage the other morning. And it didn't matter that they weren't in the photograph, the fact that they'd seen the studio was enough. I think what we tried to do is just be very playful and open and engaging in a way that felt comfortable for anyone to to join in, and I feel that that was successful moving forward. I think there's a lot more potential, and we've been making some interesting connections with people subsequently since we shared the project at the farm. So would we do anything differently? We just say, could we have longer?
It hasn't just been about the individuals living within the space, or we say visiting or commuting, but the industry and the different organisations that exist within a space. It can be really important because they could be doing things that you can be a part of without having to reinvent everything or bring everything to the plate afresh and anew, but be a part of other stuff that's going on. Allowing people to take part in different ways by giving them a few options of easy ins, really. And so that gentle build of someone's participation can happen over time rather than it being a big, one-off thing that they have to come and do or be a part of.
You can't go in thinking that you've got the answers to everything or the solutions to everything, or even that there are answers or solutions. But it's I think a fantastic way to work.
Not like that.
Yeah.